Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of In the Zone English. My name is Helmat, and I will be your host for today. Now, I have another exciting video for you today. Today, we are going to delve into the world of the IELTS. That is the International English Language Testing System. Whether you are planning to study abroad, immigrate, or enhance your English language skills, this video will provide you with some useful tips on how you can best prepare for the IELTS exam. We'll be covering all 4 sections of the exam. That is the listening section, the reading section, the writing section, and of course, the speaking section. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. First, I would like to discuss the IELTS listening section. The IELTS listening section evaluates your ability to understand spoken English in various contexts. Here are some strategies that you can use to enhance your listening skills for the IELTS exam. Tip number 1, listen to various accents. Familiarize yourself with different English accents such as British, American, Australian, or Canadian accent. The IELTS exam may include recordings with various accents, so exposing yourself to the differences will help you better understand and adapt to the diversity of pronunciation styles that exist in the English language. Tip number 2, practice active listening. Active listening is a communication skill that involves going beyond simply hearing the words that another person speaks, but also seeking to understand the meaning and the intent behind it. To practice active listening, consider listening to podcasts, watching English movies, or even engaging in English conversation with others. While doing so, take notes to improve your comprehension skills. Note-taking can help you to capture key details, main ideas, and important information that you are listening to. Tip number 3, make sure to take listening practice tests. To become more comfortable with the format and question types of the IELTS listening section, it's crucial that you practice with official IELTS listening materials. These practice tests closely resemble the actual exam. This will allow you to familiarize yourself with the types of questions you'll encounter and the pace of the questions on the listening section of the exam. Tip number 4 for the listening section is to listen for synonyms in listening questions. When answering listening questions, be attentive for the synonyms. The questions may not always use the exact words as the spoken content, but they will convey similar meanings. So, you should look for keywords or phrases in the question that are likely to be paraphrased in the recording via the use of synonyms. This skill is especially important as it helps you to recognize and select the correct answers even if the vocabulary might be slightly different. Tip number 5 for listening is to identify high-frequency words. This means words that frequently occur. During a conversation or an audio passage, you may notice certain words or phrases that are constantly repeated. These are high-frequency words, and they are often central to the main idea of the discussion. For instance, in a conversation about class size in a college's business department, the term class size may be used repeatedly by speakers. Recognizing these frequently mentioned words or phrases can guide you to the central theme of the conversation and help you answer related questions more accurately. So, those were 5 tips that you can use to enhance your score in the listening section of the IELTS exam. Now let's move on by talking about the reading section of the IELTS exam. The IELTS reading section evaluates your ability to understand, analyze, and interpret written information. Here are some strategies that you can use to be successful on the IELTS reading section. Reading tip number 1 for the IELTS exam would be to skim for main ideas. Skimming involves quickly reading a passage so you can identify the main topic or the central theme and the overall structure of the passage that you are examining. Often, reading the first sentence of a paragraph is enough for you to get a sense of what the main idea is. Sometimes you can also read the last sentence, but usually this is not necessary. Skimming is a great strategy because it can help you grasp the broader context and purpose of the reading material. Tip number 2 is to scan for key details or specific information. Scanning is a reading technique that we use to find specific information such as facts, figures, dates, names, or keywords within the text. It is crucial for efficiently locating details needed to answer specific questions in the IELTS reading section. Scanning can help pinpoint precise information quickly, and this is crucial for succeeding on the IELTS exam because one of the fundamental challenges of the exam is that it is a timed exam, so these skills, scanning particularly, can help you find information quickly and save you valuable time on the exam. Tip number 3 is recognizing inference or implication. The most crucial skill required to succeed in the IELTS reading test is learning to make correct inferences from the text. In general, as well as in IELTS reading, making inferences means to figure out the meaning from the text with the help of logic and evidence, instead of explicit or obvious statements made in the reading. Inference requires that you read between the lines and draw conclusions that may not be explicitly or directly stated in the text. Developing this skill allows you to analyze the author's intention and grasp the more subtle meaning of the passage. IELTS reading tip number 4 is understanding vocabulary in context. Vocabulary can be a significant challenge in the IELTS reading section. Being able to deduce the meaning of unfamiliar words or phrases from the context in which they appear is crucial. This skill can help you comprehend the text without relying solely on a comprehensive vocabulary. There will often be clues within the context, within the paragraph or the particular passage where a word appears, that can help you figure out the meaning of those difficult words that often you get asked about. IELTS reading tip number 5 is effective question-based reading. Instead of immediately reading the entire passage, you should begin by reading the questions first. Underline keywords or phrases in the question that help you find the answers in the text. These are the words and phrases you will look for in the text when you are looking for the answer to the questions. Most questions in the IELTS test your ability to locate specific information given to you, and then you have to comprehend the sentence or sentences that contain that information. These 5 reading skills or tips are vital for success in the IELTS reading section, and they will contribute to your overall success in the reading section. Now that we have explored the reading section of the IELTS exam, let's go ahead and explore what I would say is one of the most important sections, the writing section of the IELTS exam. The IELTS writing section will assess your ability to express your thoughts clearly in written form. There's usually 2 tasks, one that asks you to summarize information in some type of chart, and the other will ask you to evaluate or provide solutions to some problem in task 2. Here are some tips that you can use to succeed in the IELTS writing section. Tip number 1, make sure to familiarize yourself with the tasks in the IELTS writing section. For task number 1, you need to learn how to interpret and summarize different types of charts, graphs, and diagrams. You also need to learn how to identify and highlight key features that are presented in the visual data, such as the charts and graphs. Make sure to briefly outline these main features in the visual data in separate paragraphs in your summary for task 1. For task 2 of the writing section, be aware of the 4 types of prompts, which include opinion essays, discussion essays that often ask you to evaluate something, problem solution essays, and of course, direct question essays. Ensure you address all parts of the task prompt, providing a well-rounded response that covers all aspects of the question adequately. Make sure to always briefly outline your ideas and examples for each paragraph before you start writing. It is important to outline your ideas so you have a roadmap to follow when you begin writing. But make sure you divide up your time wisely. Tip number 2, make sure to plan and organize your ideas. Spend time planning your response and organizing your idea before you start writing. But again, make sure that you adequately allocate your time so that you don't run out of time when you actually start writing the tasks. Tip number 3, make sure to leave some time at the end to proofread and edit what you have written. Leaving time at the end to review and edit your work for grammar and vocabulary errors can significantly improve the quality of your writing and make sure that you catch some of those common errors and issues that can affect your band score. Tip number 4, make sure to familiarize yourself with the IELTS band score criteria. You can easily access the IELTS writing band score criteria online. It is available to the public. Understanding the criteria will help you understand what the examiner and what the IELTS exam in general is looking for when your task 1 and 2 are being assessed. By understanding this, you will know where you are weak on the IELTS writing section and where you can work harder to improve your IELTS band score. Tip number 5, make sure to paraphrase your ideas and use transition words, academic language like synonyms, and of course, vary your sentence structure. Paraphrasing shows your ability to express ideas in different ways, which is a valuable skill for both task 1 and 2. Of course, you must also make sure to use transition words to connect your ideas smoothly in order to enhance the flow of your writing. Also, incorporate the academic vocabulary that you have learned to demonstrate your language proficiency, and employ synonyms to avoid repeating or to showcase your ability with the English language. Lastly, make sure to vary your sentences. This will make your writing more engaging, especially for task 2, but it can also be useful in providing a more clear communication of your ideas. So you want to learn about the different types of sentences and add them to your task 1 and 2 response where appropriate. Now that we have discussed the IELTS writing section, let's move on and talk about the final section, that is the IELTS speaking section. In general, the IELTS speaking section is designed to assess your ability to communicate in English fluently. Here are some tips that you can use to excel in the IELTS speaking test. Make sure to practice speaking regularly. By speaking regularly to others in English, you will significantly improve your ability to use the language in different situations. And of course, you want to make sure that you speak with native speakers when possible, or other learners of the language. You can, of course, also join online English speaking clubs and communicate with people across the world. This is also great because it can expose you to English from different countries in the world. IELTS speaking tip number 2, familiarize yourself with common topics and issues. The IELTS speaking exam will ask you about yourself, but as well as common topics and issues in the world and in our lives. So you need to make sure that you familiarize yourself with as many topics as possible, especially the more popular topics like education, the environment, technology, the workplace, culture. By being prepared to discuss these topics, you are likely to do well on the IELTS speaking exam. Tip number 3 for the IELTS speaking test is to record yourself speaking English. It's quite surprising what you can learn by listening to your own voice. Oftentimes, you will begin to notice many errors that you didn't even realize you were making. So please make sure to record yourself and listen to yourself for possible errors that you might be making when you are speaking. A great strategy is to read something out loud that someone else has read and to compare yourself to the pronunciation and intonation and the general performance of that native speaker to see where you guys might sound different. Those might be areas that you might need to work on. IELTS speaking tip number 4 is to make sure to understand the IELTS speaking band score criteria. Again, like the writing, it is important to understand the band score for the speaking section. And just like the writing section, the band score for the speaking section is also available online for anyone to access. If you look at the criteria, you will notice that your speaking is being assessed based on your pronunciation, your vocabulary use, your grammar, and of course your coherence and your general ability to continue speaking correctly and with as much error-free sentences as possible. Understanding this criteria will help you understand what you need to demonstrate to get your desired band score on the IELTS speaking section. And tip number 5 for the IELTS speaking test is to get comfortable with less common English language and vocabulary. You need to familiarize yourself and become more comfortable using less common English language, such as collocations, phrases, idioms, and so on. These can enhance your language proficiency and make you speak more naturally and become more fluent as a speaker. So, there you have it, folks. Those were 5 tips for each section of the IELTS exam that you can use to succeed. As always, I would like to thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to the In the Zone English channel, like this video, and share it if you found it helpful. Your support helps me continue to create more valuable resources for English language learners. Thank you again for watching, and best of luck on your IELTS exam.